Ladies and gentlemen, theys and thems, welcome back. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Garet, and we're your hosts of Modern Gays. On today's episode, we're going to introduce you to the Unsolicited Advice Club of Daniel and Garet. Welcome.
Welcome. Applauses.
Well, before we get started, I have something to admit. I'm going to confess to everyone.
Confess and share, my love.
I may have never gotten Botox, but I did get plastic surgery.
You did.
I mean, I would call it plastic surgery.
I would call it a mini procedure.
I got a facelift and a fox eye and lip injection.
Love, you did not get that done.
Okay, I cut this is a bit gross. I actually had a cyst on my forehead.
Don't touch it. You're touching it right now.
And I cut it out. And I no longer have a Quasimodo growing off the front of my face.
Yeah, and you look beautiful.
I do now. Before I felt like so much. I felt like I had a mountain casting a shadow over my entire face, and it really wasn't that bad. Like when I look at photos and I look back, now that it's gone, I feel so much better.
Would you say that was your biggest insecurity?
Totally 100% my biggest insecurity. Well, now, so when my plastic surgeon, because I now can say that, right?
You went to Beverly Hills.
My plastic surgeon actually made the incision to cut out the cyst that was on my forehead. It was under my muscle, like basically on my skull. So it was actually kind of a massive procedure, but did it really well. But he cut an incision maybe less than a centimeter.
Yeah.
It was so tiny.
It looks great.
But he was like, I'm going to cut it in your wrinkle.
Because you have
"My
wrinkles
what?"
now.
I was like, what? My what? My wrinkle?
You have wrinkles.
My wrinkle? I was like, I'm 40 years old and everyone thinks I'm younger than you.
Yes, loving. You look beautiful. Fresh as a daisy.
But he was like, I'm going to cut it in the wrinkle. And I was like, what are you talking about, my wrinkle?
It's
anyway,
okay. It's so small.
So maybe I'll get Botox now. I don't know.
Speaking of insecurities, my biggest insecurity is my hair. I feel like
it's lush, it's thick, it's looking good.
I think it's kind of getting thick, but it's definitely you know how you always used to talk about like whenever you were under downlight and that bump was always like you were thinking about that bump.
Right.
I do that with the back of my head.
Yeah,
Whenever I'm at the gym and I'm on the treadmill or I'm like walking in front of someone and somebody is behind me, I'm like, fuck, they're looking at the back of my head and it's bold.
Yeah, and the truth is no one even cares. No one cares. Only you care. Only I care. We only care about.
But why do we care about what people freaking care about? It's so stupid. My brain plays tricks on me all the time.
Well, I think it happens to all of us. Like so many people have something, whether it be temporary or semi-temporary or semi-permanent or permanent, that we think is so huge and such a massive, thing for other people, and it affects our self-confidence. It affects how we present ourselves and how we show up for ourselves in front of others, and it sucks because sometimes there's not a lot we can do about it. Well,
I think what's really interesting before we get into today's episode is one observation I have made from the past couple of days since your surgery is that people are in people's business, girl.
Why?
Because I feel the eyes on me when I'm at the gym because
I haven't been there in a while.
You haven't been there in a while. And for those of you who know Garet and I and have been listening to the show for quite some time, we go to the gym every day together and we work out religiously like 365 days a year.
Not because I want to.
Yes, you do. And I have obviously been going on my own solo because Garet cannot work out for a few more days. And I can feel people looking at me like, what has happened? Where is he? Where's his partner? Like, what has happened? What happened?
What happened was...
It's really interesting to feel the judgment from people like, what's going on?
It's funny because we have our routines.
Yes.
Whatever neighborhood you may live in, you have your coffee shop, you have your gym, you have your normal way of getting to work. You see the same people along the way.
You even have your post on social media, right? Like if you're in a relationship and you post you and your partner every day on a story, or you're going here and you're going there, you're doing this, you're going on vacation.
But the second your routine changes or you change up your posting schedule.
Yes.
Immediately people start talking or they start thinking about like, oh, what happened? Why haven't they posted? Like what's going on?
Yeah.
And then a lot of question marks start popping up.
Correct.
When really like nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed.
That's all good.
We just cannot work out together right now.
I just got plastic surgery.
You went to Beverly Hills and got the plastic surgery. Wow.
But unless I put that on
your social media,
my social media,
people won't know what's going on.
They would be up to date and then they wouldn't really have any questions.
us gays, we just know how to do stuff.
Well, what about modern gays?
That's easy. Modern gays do everything.
Okay, so with people in your business, I feel like sometimes it's really unsolicited. A lot of the times.
I want to take another further step back even more, because I feel as though in today's society, it is so hard to hide your business unless you go fully MIA.
Right. Like off the grid.
Yeah. Like people know your business regardless because of technology.
Yeah. Well, even so, like we were just with a group of friends and like someone shared some news and they were like, well, how do you know that? Because this girl swore me to secrecy, and then not everyone's supposed to know about this thing. And then like, oh, that because this person told that person told this person, this is how we all found out. It's like, if you really want your secret to be a secret, you can't even tell
your mom.
A soul. You can't even tell yourself.
No.
Just don't say a word.
Right.
That's the only way a secret's going to stay a secret.
Yeah.
Good news, bad news, sideways news. It doesn't matter.
Whatever it is.
But if you do want to share and you need some advice, you ask for it. Hopefully, if you need it, like see a therapist, talk to your friends, talk to your family, ask for help. That's really important. But sometimes you just want to share your experience, and sometimes you just need to vent, and you just need, to talk, to like let it breathe a bit. Right. And you don't want advice. This is why we're calling this episode the
Unsolicited Advice
Club.
Because when we have these conversations, right? Or when you're catching up with a friend, or you're like seeing your mom, or you're seeing your sister, or you're on FaceTime to whoever it might be, I think instinctively we all generally will have a comment, or we've got something to say back to somebody about their experience or that specific story. Whether it would be we try and relate to them, right, or we'll try and share a commonality on terms of something that happened to us or their best friend. Oh, my friend went through this too and they did that. And I didn't ask about your friend, darling.
Yeah.
I'm like just sharing my experience with you.
Like your story isn't my story.
Correct.
Like your experience isn't my experience.
My experience isn't anybody else's experience.
Yeah.
Like it's uniquely to me or to us or to whoever the person is.
Right.
And so often as humans, we can get caught in this cycle of trying to empathize and align with another individual by sharing another story that's actually not what the person wants to hear.
Yeah. And I guess that's where like that saying, walk a mile in my shoes. I think that your experience...
Like Vanessa Carlton, 1,000 miles? You walk 1,000 miles?
Oh my God. No, there's a saying, walk in my shoes to really know my experience.
Right.
Like you do not know someone else's experience unless you are literally going through the exact same thing, and you will never go through the exact same thing because you are not that person.
Right.
Especially around queer, LGBTQ plus community, trans lives, people who have unique experiences in life that are particular to them.
Yes.
So like for us, like we came out as gay men at a youngish age, and we've always kind of felt, or at least for me, that I had to probably come out several times.
Right.
And I feel still like I still come out today.
Me too.
When we're in groups of people that I don't know and we're talking about our partners or this or that, I'm like, oh yeah, my husband. And like everyone starts connecting the dots like, oh, he's gay. And I know that is a constant conversation. And a lot of the times people say, oh, I hope I can ask you this question. I mean, I don't mean to offend you.
Like if you're asking that, if you're saying that statement, then you shouldn't be asking the question.
Like, do you like basically, do this and do that? Or like, do you?
Yes, we suck dick and have anal sex. Yes. Can I get a gay man?
How does it work? And who's who? Unsolicited.
And the thing is, especially as being gay and queer now, the number one thing, especially when we grew up, was, oh, my uncle is gay, or oh, this so-and-so is gay. So like from the first time we share our truth of who we are, the instant rebuttal is, oh,
I know this person.
I know Susie,
person.
She's lesbian. I don't care about Susie Q.
Oh, my aunt and my brother and my this and my that. Like they all
from
are
the
gay
second
too.
We just start
and that's
sharing.
Obviously a way for them to be like, listen, I'm cool with you. That's them saying, I'm cool with you. But I'm like, I don't need your approval to know that you're cool with me.
Right. And like, I'm never going to meet Susie.
Right. Like
so,
you could, Susie could be cool.
Maybe, but it's frustrating when you share the story and you're trying to express how you're feeling and you express how you felt and you don't get what you need from that conversation. Like
Well,
you
that's
leave
a
feeling
whole-
more depleted.
That's a whole nother thing. When you're sharing a truth about who you are, like that's one thing to get, oh, I know this person, I know that person. They have the same experience as you, which might be being gay or being lesbian or queer or bi or trans. And then you don't know really what to do with that information other than, oh, okay, great. They're not going to hate me.
Right.
Or they're not going to judge me too much. Or they have a preconceived idea of who I am based off of who that other person is. And therefore you think I'm the same.
That is correct.
So that's a complicated dynamic. But then on the other side of it is where you share what's going on in your life to your friends. Like say some shit's going down.
Right.
Say it's a breakup or
You're over your job.
you're just not happy and you're depressed and you're like in a lull in your life. And trust me, I've been there.
Oh yeah.
And in parts of the way, maybe I'm there right now.
Yeah, girl.
But when I share part of that with a friend who I love and care and admire and want to be around, those friends can still come back with not the right message or not the right language or the words that you want to hear, because sometimes you don't want to hear anything.
Yeah, but
you just want to share. Like, here, I'm sharing, I'm inviting you into my life. I'm not asking for
a response
all the time. Especially when something's heavy or I'm sad, I'm depressed, I'm not happy right now. And then when the other person goes, oh, I'm also sad, I'm also depressed, I'm also not happy right now, you're just piling on top of that energy. That's shit.
Like it's not a dump master. You don't need to dump on top of the dump.
Like, I don't want you to be worse off than me. That's not going to make me feel good.
Right.
I'm not going to feel better knowing that you got more fucked up and screwed over than I did.
Correct.
Like, I want you to be doing well so I can
be in
celebrate.
A good place. Right.
And obviously we're not always going to be in a good place. And, two friends can be in a
life
shitty
has
spot
ups
at
and
the same
downs. That's right.
time. And you can both be, miserable together, but it can't be every time. It can't be all the conversations you have.
You know what's really interesting is as I have gotten older, I used to unload on my friends a lot. And I felt like when I was in my early teens, in my 20s even, maybe 18s, I would constantly just gossip and bitch and moan and groan about my life consistently. Whether it was about a guy I was dating, my dance career, where I was moving to, was I moving to LA this week or moving to Sydney or was I coming back to Melbourne? What was it? But I feel like as I get older, I now am learning to process my emotions more.
And share less?
Share less because the answer is really within me what I need.
Ooh.
Serious.
Truth.
I know what I need.
You know what you need to hear.
I know what I need to hear.
You need to hear it from yourself.
And my moment of realization recently has been, I don't share the story with my friends when I need their opinion. I share the story with my friend when I have accepted it and I have the resolution.
Okay.
That's been my reckoning lately.
That's your lesson learned.
That has been my lesson learned.
Your growth.
Yeah.
Internal
and
growth.
And
right there.
no shade to my friends because my friends and our friends are really the most amazing people ever.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're going through something in life and people haven't been through the same scenario or same situation and they don't know how to give you what you need, I think it's really important for you to trust your intuition and trust your gut and give yourself the healing of whatever it is that you need to do to move forward.
And I try to be conscious of that as a friend to others myself.
Same.
And I'm always thinking where I'm in a situation where someone's, telling me what's going on in their life and maybe it's not the best or the greatest. And they're just had a shit week and everything else is wonderful, you know, and they're just kind of just complaining about something stupid. I am really conscious not to pile on. I don't want, and not that I feel like I can't share my story too, but I also don't want to make them feel like I'm not listening.
Yeah.
And I like to listen.
I know you're
and
a very good listener.
Fucking do. Sometimes all you have to do is listen. And then that's the end of the conversation. And then you have some food and you go out and you enjoy life. So
true and so relevant because we had Dan Harry on the show as well recently from the UK who said to us that your weakness is your strength. And
your superpower.
Your superpower. And I have always said to you that your patience and your not your listening, because your listening is, I've always said, amazing. But I've always said to you,
my patience could be a weakness,
your patience
but it is my
annoys the
superpower.
heck out of me sometimes. Yeah. But after that episode, I actually said to you, your patience actually gives me strength and gives me my superpower, to be more patient.
Just the same way, like where you think the giant bump on my forehead is nothing and I think it's huge, or you feel like someone's staring at your hair when they're really not. We are quick to feel insecure, feel like, you know, we can't share or we can't be our authentic selves without feeling like we're going to be judged. But then when we do share, then it ends up blowing up in our face because we're not really getting what we want. So I think it's a balance, and it is like kind of a give and take. It's an ebb and flow. It's like, it's not going to be easy to like figure it out, and it still isn't. But I think being much more conscious around it and knowing that sometimes you need to kind of figure it out yourself. Like maybe I did have to get plastic surgery to get the bump removed because I tried everything else.
Well, no,
but I felt really good doing that. I found my own solutions.
What you figured out yourself was that you accepted that you were going to get the plastic surgery, and you came to me and you said, I've made an appointment.
Right.
You didn't ask anybody.
I didn't want to spend the money. I was scared. I didn't want to go through the process. And I didn't know, like, I thought maybe like I would lose movement in like the muscle of my forehead or something.
Perfect.
It's fine.
Yeah.
But I know that like you're right. You have to come to the realization, you have to come to the acceptance, and you need to kind of find the answer yourself.
Yes.
And your friends or the people around you that might be giving you the advice, they might give it to you. They might spark that in you. And you might feel like they're not giving you it, but in a way, maybe they are in time helping you figure it out yourself.
Right. Well, it's just like life, right? Like when I remember when I said to my parents, like, oh, I want to move to LA. They were like, what the heck? Like, why would you do that? Like, what is in LA? And again, they gave me so much unsolicited advice that had I had listened to that unsolicited advice, I would have never moved to LA. I would have never met you. I would have never had the experiences that I had. And I would have probably never been the person that I am today without shaping me into this independent, free spirit.
Right.
So you can't listen to unsolicited advice. I mean, you can take on parts of it, but I think if we continue to just go to people hoping that they will tell us what we want to hear to then make the decision, it's never going to work.
Right.
Like, I think we know the answers deep down in ourselves, which is why I always say you listen to what you need and then act on that.
So here's a piece of unsolicited advice.
Oh, here we go.
Is that I actually heard this advice from many other professionals or other entrepreneurs, people who are very successful, and they achieved a lot in their life by not telling anyone.
Like work in silence.
So when you are working on like something really great, or you have a new spark of an idea and you're not sure about it, the second you tell someone, you give that power to them to give you almost kind of like acceptance, or you're opening it up to be influenced in a way that may discourage you or that may guide you in the wrong way, because you might get that unsolicited advice back from them saying,
they might dim your spark.
Terrible idea.
Yep.
You know, like how many times have you come to me like, oh, I got an idea. I got a business idea. Sometimes I go in my mind like, oh, that's a terrible idea. And I don't tell you.
But your face tells me I don't know straight away.
Well, I mean, but I try to be conscious of it because I'm like, I don't want to kill an idea for you when I see how excited you are about it. But sometimes if it's like really bad, I'll be like, no, that's terrible. Or if it's great, I'll be like, yeah, that's really cool. It's like, let's talk about it more.
Yeah.
But I am more conscious not to kill that spark in you, because I am a spark factory. Like I come up with so many business ideas, I'm constantly thinking of shit.
Too much.
And in my mind, I know you think it's too much, but I don't care. I know other people think like, oh, that's too much, but I don't care because I'm going to work on that idea in my head for a while and I'm going to put action together. Because if I know that if I give it up too quickly, I'm not going to explore it.
It doesn't come from a place of it's too much. It comes from a place of me wanting you to just have one idea and fully execute to that.
Yeah. But
it's not that I want to shut down your hundreds of ideas, because I think they're all amazing, but it's more focus on one and get real specific. Because we have so much access to social media and TikTok and YouTube and your moms and your dads and your friends and people on the street, whoever it might be, everyone is projecting their opinion to you. Like, you got to do this and you got to do that. And to be successful at 25, you got to do X, Y, and Z. And here are the ways to make passive income. All this stuff. Like, there is so much content out there that sometimes I feel overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not listening to anybody anymore. Like, the amount of times I've seen life is short, you're in your 30s, take a risk, take a jump, take a leap. You know where I'm going to go take a leap is to my bed, bitch, because I'm so tired.
You're tired now in that moment. and then all of a sudden you reinvigorate yourself. You put the work in, you sleep, you restore, you get the energy back, and then you're right back at it. So I don't think that the content is the issue. It's not the overwhelming advice.
Yes.
It's you.
No, it's the content.
It's you. No, it's you.
The content makes me feel overwhelmed.
But where are you getting the answers from?
Myself.
Correct. So you do need to rely on yourself. And I think that for us in general, like for where we're at in our lives right now, we really do need to rely on our own internal voice a lot more, because we have gotten to a point where we've experienced so much life and we've made the mistakes here and there. We have overwhelming wins and we have overwhelming losses. Like that is the voice that you need to listen to.
The voice,
your voice. Like it's you, but you still need to kind of hear advice here and there. Hopefully it's solicited and you're really seeking it out, and be really conscious about seeking it out. Where I'm at that point now. I'm consciously seeking out the information I need. I educate myself. But I'm very conscious of when someone is giving me advice that I did not ask for.
I roll my eyes now.
And I very politely excuse my way out of that situation.
Yeah.
Or I shut the conversation down and I move on to something else. And most of the time people have really beautiful,
opinions,
kind, intentions. Like their intentions are really pure and they want to help.
Yes.
But sometimes it doesn't help. And then you have to set a boundary. You have to be like, okay, I'm not going to talk about this anymore right now. And if it keeps happening, and you get the same response over and over again, you have to be a bit more firm and strong with it, where it's just like, no, I don't feel comfortable talking about this anymore. I want to
move on.
Really make a mindful choice to focus on this part of my life. Let's just move over here. And then most of the time people are like, okay.
Yeah, I agree. That's
and
definitely
then
fair.
they do it.
Yep.
So no more unsolicited advice.
No more unsolicited advice.
Unless
I think people
you're looking
ask for it.
Yeah. Even with this show, with Modern Gays, it's hard because this is our show. We did this show. This is our show. You're listening hopefully because you like us, you like the content, the effort that we're putting forward, and like the creative nature and the people that we're having on the show. We're learning from our mistakes and wanting to make this show better and better and better. And you guys have always let us know. You've sent us emails and messages and reviews and comments, and we are paying so much attention to that because we want this to be a fun experience where it is a little bit of an escape or a getaway, or you feel like you're in the room with us having a conversation.
I mean, we love building our community of modern gays and having people message us and share their story with us and say sometimes, oh my God, I was feeling the exact same way. Like, it is honestly so inspirational and
connection.
So uplifting to build a community. So thank you all for listening and tuning in every week.
Yeah. Well, next year, we're going to be launching our season 3. Like, I mean, we're basically on our 41st episode.
This is
today,
our 41st episode,
which is wild. And season 2. And we have a lot planned for season 3.
We're very excited.
Switching it up a little bit. We're very excited to let you all know about it. But that also means that sadly, we only have a few more episodes left to release in season 2. We're really excited about what's coming, and we really do appreciate all the support that you have given to us tuning in to Modern Gays every single week. So
until next time,
keep building the vibrant life you want by owning your authentic self.